Okay, speaking of written accounts, are there any written accounts that predate the biblical account of the global flood?
Well, no, but there are some that are said to be older than the biblical account. The Gilgamesh epic, for example, that's the most famous one that people bring up. Well, you Christians, you're wrong. Moses got the account of Noah's flood from the Gilgamesh epic because
Right.
it's older. That's what the skeptics are saying. But if you look at the details of that, that doesn't really fly. In one of the things we can look at is generally, as far as religious systems go, it goes from monotheism, one God, to polytheism, multiple gods, or pantheism, animism, or whatever. And archaeology confirms that. The older civilizations, it starts with monotheism and goes down from there. Well, the Bible is monotheistic, and the Gilgamesh epic is polytheism. There's gods there that are squabbling among themselves and bickering, and the humans the gods are hungry, so the humans have to sacrifice to feed the gods, and it's not monotheism at that point. Another thing we could look at is if you drill down into the details about the birds that Noah sent out. Noah sends out a raven first, and its non-return, Noah realizes that that doesn't really mean the floodwaters have gone down, because it's a carrion feeder. It's a scavenger.
So you're saying there would have been still something for it to feed on?
Yeah, there could have been animals floating, very, very likely were animals still floating around that it landed on and was feeding and didn't return to the ark. And then Noah sends out the doves. And the first dove flies around and comes back. The first dove flies around and brings, the next one brings a freshly plucked olive branch. So, okay, that indicates the waters have gone down. In the Gilgamesh epic, he sends out the raven last. So that the way Noah did it makes sense. And so it looks like the Gilgamesh epic has been stolen from the biblical account. They got the types of birds in there, but the sequence in which the hero figure sends out the birds makes way more sense in the Bible. And then as well, we can look at the structure of the ark in the Gilgamesh epic. In the Gilgamesh epic, it's a 9-story cube.
Okay.
That's about as seaworthy as a 9-story sphere. Like rather, in the biblical account, the dimensions come right from God, the length, width, and height, and so on. One window around the top, one door, 3 decks, and so on.
So not like what we see typically in children's nursery books.
No, no, not like that. The little floating bathtub ark. I mean, and those are nice pictures for the kids in the nursery, and you have the cute animals on the wall and so on.
But we don't do ourselves any favor in making it not myth-like.
No, it could be drawn on you get your local artist in the congregation to do a cute picture for the kids there, but it could be drawn to the dimensions we have in Scripture. 300 cubits long. A cubit is a distance from the tip of your hand to your elbow. So if that's 18 inches, that's 450 feet long, about 140 meters. That's a large ark, and it's likely a box structure. There's no indication that it was like this little floating bathtub that we usually see. Didn't have to go anywhere. Didn't have an engine. And the dimensions there, given in Scripture, naval engineers have taken those dimensions and they build scale models of it. The same kind of thing they do for new ocean liner designs, and they take them to university wave tanks, where in some universities they can simulate like hurricane force winds and waves to see how this thing will ride the waves, how stable will it be, and so on. It turns out that the dimensions in Scripture produce a very stable design. It could list nearly 60 degrees and not capsize. Very stable. It's not going to, like a 9-story cube, a little gust of wind and the thing,
right,
it's going to be rolling.
Not very stable.
What are the animals inside they're going to need 5-point harnesses or something. Like on the ark, maybe if it lists 60 degrees, they need seatbelts too. But the point is, it was a stable design. So for those folks who say that Noah or Moses borrowed his account of Noah from the Gilgamesh epic, which supposedly came first, that doesn't make any sense. Did Noah come up with, by chance, these dimensions that just happen to be incredibly seaworthy from the 9-story cube? If that came first, that doesn't make any sense. What makes sense is the dimensions that work as far as naval engineers are concerned. That's the original account, and then the legendized The fictitious account came after that. So the Gilgamesh epic is newer, not older than Noah's flood.
Yeah, we actually have many articles on this topic on our website, creation.com.
Yes.
But if somebody wanted to go a little bit deeper in this topic, we do have this book here, How
Yes.
Noah's Flood Shaped Our Earth. Can you tell us about it?
Yeah, excellent book by Mike Ord. And that's for people who want to go beyond the Sunday school stories of two animals going on the ark and so on. This book will talk about how, like, the geologic effects of a global flood and what it produced on the surface of the earth. So this is really drilling down into some of the details and really thinking about what a global flood would accomplish in a very short period of time, geologically. So an excellent book all around.
And we will make that available in the description. Richard, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you. It's been fun.